Hello, and welcome to What's What with Dilly and Dally. What's up, Dilly?
What's up, Dally?
Welcome to the show today. I am super excited because on the train with us today, we have Pyper. You might know Pyper from TikTok. She is the one who creates amazing STEM jewelry and runs a Divergent Minds Club, which we will be talking more about later. You want to say hi?
Hi, guys. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yay.
I've got a podcast. I'm so excited.
Yay. We are super excited to have you here. I am personally super excited because I am a very big fan of DMC. If you have the video, you can see that I am using the earrings that Pyper made that I bought from DMC. I actually became a fan of Pyper's just watching TikTok, and I wanted the jewelry that she was making because I have ADHD. And I was really excited to have something that I could play with that was still pretty. And then the rest is history. And so it was really great finding someone who's actually making something very specific that I think is really important.
Yeah, I agree too, because I love I'm not wearing mine because I'm dumb. And
no, it's because we can't find it.
Yeah, I put it away somewhere. I don't remember where, because I'm leaving in 2 weeks. So I'm trying to get my shit together.
Also, there's ADHD problems, you know?
Yeah. I
misplaced my fidget jewelry. Yeah, that's
on brand. The piece that I bought of Pyper's is jewelry because I have an oral, part of my PTSD is I get really nervous and I chew my fingernails, or like I rub my hands together and then I chew on them. And the thing that I got from Pyper Shop was blue and orange with a rainbow on them, and I'm a big Mets fan, and I was like, this is perfect. I was wearing them to Mets games. I'm chewing on them like while we're doing really badly, and I was getting really nervous. I was like, it was so good. It was so funny. So I love the jewelry. It's my favorite. It's right on par with like what I need in my life. So we love it.
That makes me so happy. I'm so glad, because I just wanted to, I was making stuff for myself, and I was like, if I have a need for this, I'm sure other people have a need for this. And I don't think anybody's ever actually done anything like this. So let's give it a shot and see where this goes. And that was basically it.
And it's incredible. And like, you should be so proud of yourself for the work that you've put into it, and like, just how impactful it's been. Like, I see the comments in your videos, like people absolutely love your stuff, and it's exciting.
It makes me feel so good, honestly. Yay. It makes me so happy. Also got a huge sense of accomplishment because it's something that I've done for myself on my own with nobody's help, really. Mm-hmm. It's, it was all me. And that's kind of the first time in my life I've pat myself on the back. First time in my life that I can really say that. And it feels really good.
That's awesome. I know that's like kind of like what we're going to go into in our first topic, is talking about, especially I call them invisible disabilities, because people can't see that we're disabled, but we are. All three of us on this podcast and in this video all have different things going on that make it really hard for us to live in this society that's built for normal brained people.
Yeah. I think that, so our first topic specifically, so our first place that we will be visiting today is talking about what it is like to try to live in a world designed for other people, trying to be, you are a square block and there are only round holes. And then you get chastised for not being able to fit into any of them. It's wild. And especially this comes into play when we are looking for work. So statistically, those who have ADHD or ASD, PTSD, any of the alphabets, generally have trouble finding a job and keeping a job. And the reason being is because you can't really, it's not socially acceptable yet to take mental health days from work And it's true that we need them. We need them just as much as our coworker who has, my coworker at my previous job who had MS, she needed days off because her body wouldn't work. There were days I needed a day or two off because my brain didn't work. It was severe. It wasn't just like, I'm tired. It's severe. It's an actual disability. And I want to use that word to talk about it specifically. And I want to address that before we go a little bit forward. I think that the idea of ADHD and stuff as a superpower is lovely. And it certainly can be in specific situations for certain things, but it's like having a superpower that's like useless in any situation except for one. But like any other time, it's like, oh, great, you can make pizza lukewarm. Like that's your superpower. Like all pizza you touch is lukewarm. Like that's not helpful.
Yeah.
It's interesting, not helpful. It does not help you keep a job. And these things can be like an actual detriment to what you're trying to do with your life. And it ends up that we lose jobs, we lose like what we're doing. We're unable to perform the things that we're doing, and trying to say that it's not a disability, it's a good thing is really like, it makes it so that we can't get the accessibility options that we need. And we can't ask for the accommodations that we need in particular, because why would you need accommodations for a superpower? So I was just going to say that at the top, we will be discussing this as if it is an actual like disability, because it has affected us in that way. Sorry, there's some discourse on that. And I always just want to get ahead of it.
Oh yeah, absolutely know what you're talking about. Yeah, there's a lot of discourse on that online. It's, you would think that people would just kind of understand, but I guess it's just so far out of the realm of what some people are capable of comprehending at all, that it just has to be this huge discussion. And it's like, we're saying it affects our lives this bad. And they're saying, I don't think so.
I think you're lying.
I think you're lying. I don't think you feel that way. And it's like, I'm sorry. Do you want me to pee on the floor or something? Like, what is it you're looking for?
Honestly, they don't care until you have the mental breakdown. And then it's like, I've been telling you.
Exactly.
And then you break down and freak out and cry over a French fry. And suddenly now everyone wants to pay attention.
Yeah. Or you just get fired for it.
Yep.
Like, exactly. I can't tell you how many times I've been, for me specifically, I think my biggest challenge with having CPTSD and being in especially the retail workspace, which is what I've mostly been in, is my rejection sensitive dysphoria is so intense. And so like, if I get one little tiny bit of criticism on the job that I'm doing, I emotionally shut down. And then I just start underperforming completely, because I'm just like, I just give up. Like, instead of like, I'm thinking about this, like, how do you tell your boss that is what's going on? That like, hey, I'm really like, I can't pull my boss to the side and be like, I'm really sorry, but like that criticism that you gave me about like, I wasn't doing something exactly to the way that you liked it, because maybe I couldn't, has made my brain spiral into like a pit of despair. And now I'm just sucking at my job completely because I just gave up. Like, I don't understand. How do you say that?
It's
honestly,
so hard.
It's hard. It shouldn't be hard. You should be able to go to your manager and be like, hey, you said this earlier. And like, normally that's totally fine. My brain, don't work like that. Please, next time, if you could say it in a way that is not as mean, I'd appreciate it. And they should be like, yeah, great. Thank you for telling me it affected you that way. I will not do that in the future. But the thing is, in reality, like, you just can't do that. Like, I'm trying to imagine going to my manager at Starbucks and being like, don't say mean things to me.
So I'm going to interject. I actually have a situation at my previous job where the manager happened to catch me on a bad day, and I had a complete meltdown. like had to walk around the block for 20 minutes because I was hyperventilating and couldn't breathe meltdown. And he made me sit down after. He's like, what is going on? Talk to me. And like, I was already so in it that there was no way, there was no getting around this conversation. So I had to tell him, and I looked at him and I was like, you never tell me when I do anything good. You only say, you only have criticism, but it'd be nice for some encouragement too when I do good things. And he's like, oh shit, I didn't even notice. I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's nice.
And,
yay. Pets, snaps. That's good. That's the good response.
It was a great response. And in the future, I'll probably be able to have that conversation a little bit easier. But like, for people like us, it generally will get to a point that we just like, keep trying to do our best, just take the criticism and take it all until we just like break, and then at that point, it's just like most of us will lose our jobs. I just got lucky where I was told to go take a walk, and then they sat down and had a conversation with me. Like I was one of the lucky ones in that situation. And that says a lot too.
Yeah. That says a lot that that's not the norm, that's the exception.
Exactly.
Which is crazy to me because like, and then especially now with like the whole worker shortage and all this stuff, it's not just because you're not paying people. It's also because you're fostering an environment in your company, whatever your company is, in which people cannot thrive. Like, I don't want to work hard for you because you're not providing me with reasons to work for you. And that especially is true for people with, I think, any sort of, invisible disabilities, because you're not helpful at all. And the fact that you had that experience and that's the exception is not okay. We need to change that.
Yeah. Absolutely. So my biggest hardship with a traditional work environment, with my whole thing, all of my alphabet in my brain, is definitely time blindness. And everyone on this podcast right now has experienced Emily's time blindness.
Oh yeah, we started like 45 minutes late today because this is the thing. Is it's not just your time blindness. Mine kicked me in the ass today too.
It's so time blindness, if anyone does not know, it is not just, oh, I lost track of time, I was having fun and things went faster. It is, I have just a severe misunderstanding of how long things take. So for some reason, even though I know I have to be at work at 8, and I know that it takes me 28 minutes to drive there, I will leave exactly 28 minutes before I have to be there, even though not taking into account traffic, not taking into account stoplights, nothing. Just like, this is logically, I leave 28 minutes before because it generally takes me 28 minutes to get there. And then when I'm like, okay, great, I have to leave at, let's say that means I leave at like 7:30. Okay, I'm not gonna get out of bed until 7:30. That doesn't make sense. I have to get dressed. What's wrong with me? Like, I just completely, I skip that part. I'm like, okay, get up, leave the house at this time, like get up at this, like I will get up as soon as like when I'm supposed to be leaving. Doesn't make any sense, but my brain, you'd think like, just do better next time. Okay, great. Next time happens. I do the same thing. Since I was in high school, I was late to my classes. I would miss the bus every morning. I remember being like so embarrassed. I actually recently, my mom came to town and we talked about this. I was so embarrassed that I missed the bus so many times. I'd like hide in my closet until my mom was gone so that I wouldn't have to wake her up to take me to school. And I liked school. I wanted to go, and I was late getting on the bus, and I just could not get myself up and ready in time to get on the bus. And then when I started work, guess who shows up? And it's never egregious. It's never like 30 minutes late. It's always like 5 to 10 minutes late. I will be 5 to 10 minutes late everywhere I fucking go forever. I don't mean to be. I am a liquid. I fill the time you give me. And so I spill over just a little bit. And so I can't talk about trying to explain that to your boss. Like, what's your weakness? And I'm like, oh, it's time blindness. I will be 10 minutes late every day. And you will deal with it. you will ask me for a reason and I will give you another excuse every time and it will never change. That's my weakness. You can't say that.
Yeah.
They're going to say no.
Especially not in a corporate setting.
I worked in a bank.
Yeah. You got to be there at
a bank.
Oh, man.
Every time. Okay. I always get a talking to about it.
I have a question about time blindness. Is that, so time blindness is that what you just said? But is time blindness also what I do, where I get so anxious about being late that like I'll show up like a half hour early? Is that part, or is that something completely different?
I would say
that's anxiety due to time blindness.
Yeah, like maybe you can be that way, and so you just have more anxiety. The anxiety to time blindness level is like higher.
Yeah, because
I think more time blindness, less anxiety. It's more anxiety and less time blindness.
Yeah, because that's one of my we talked about that, Emily. Remember I told you like I got like scarred, traumatized as a kid by my dad, who is military. He was in the Marines, and like he was always like, if you're on time, you're late. So you have to be 15 minutes early. And so I will go 15 minutes early. And Emily was like, so what do you do for that 15 minutes? Do you get paid? And I'm like, no, I just sit there and I get myself prepared for and
okay, this is a different discussion, but this is a valid discussion. I have had employers, and I'm sure we all have, that say, like, let's say your shift starts at 9:30. They're like, you should be here 9:15. Okay. So my question, can I clock in at 9:15? No. Okay. But you're telling me to be here at 9:15. Yes. But I don't get paid at 9:15. No. So why the fuck would I show up here at 9:15? I'm going to show up at 9:30. You're paying me to be here at 9:30. I am not going to show up 15 minutes early. And if you tell me to, you suck. Pay me for that 15 minutes. You can say you can clock in. Like if you tell me, oh yeah, show up 15 minutes early, you can clock in. Just be here 15 minutes, like just so you can get here and get ready, get settled. Like I get all that. But if you're not going to pay me to do that, I'm going to do that in the car, and I'm going to walk in at my shift start time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And then I had managers who would absolutely lose their shit at me about that. They're like, you get here at exactly 8. Are you paying me to start before 8? No. So why would I be here before 8, Kevin? Like, and I don't know if it's my ASD or like what, but I do not understand this concept, and it makes me viscerally angry. Maybe it's just because my whole time thing, but what is that about?
I don't know. I think it's just to make sure people aren't late, because if they are late, then there's 15 minutes of buffer time. So that makes sure it guarantees they won't be late.
Which is gross.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Honestly, because sometimes people are late, shit happens. Sometimes there's traffic, car accidents. Sometimes you're trying to get ready in the morning. You dump an entire coffee all over yourself. Like stuff happens sometimes. It shouldn't be the end of the world if someone is late a couple of times. So many people make it this huge thing when there are entire groups of people whose brains literally can't tell time properly. And it's, this huge ordeal when you're making minimum wage and they expect you to do maximum effort.
Thank you.
This brings up a really good point that's not in the corporate world, but in the education world. I don't know if y'all knew this, but in my college that I went to that I didn't complete, if you showed up late more than 5 times, it counted as an absence. And if you had more than 3 absences, you would automatically fail the class.
That's got to be an American thing. Yeah, I've never heard of anyone in any school in Canada doing that.
Yeah. It's definitely, I also went to college and did not finish. Guess why?
That feels ableist, honestly.
It is ableist. Yeah. It's so ableist. Like you're especially when you have a class. First of all, for most kids that are in college, they're kids. They're still kids. They're just coming out of high school. They're 18. You're asking them to show up on time somewhere by themselves because they're an adult at this point.
Yeah.
At like 8 o'clock in the morning or 9 o'clock. I had a statistics class. I was in my late 20s when I started college. And I had a statistics class at like 6 in the morning, which meant I had to leave my house at like 5:30.
No.
And then I was late all the time. And I ended up failing the class, not because I'm bad at math, which probably would have happened anyway, because I am bad at math. But I failed because I was late like 12 times. And that counted as 3 absences. And that failed me automatically.
That's ridiculous. If being late, you can be 5 minutes late and still be there for almost the entire the entire class.
Don't apologize for cursing. I
can curse.
Okay.
Fuck the education system in America.
I thought the education system here was bad. That is ridiculous, because being 5 minutes late doesn't detract from your learning, yet you're failing people because they're 5 minutes late. Maybe they had to go to the bathroom. Maybe their dog peed on their shoe on the way out the door. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah,
it doesn't. All it does is detract from their education.
The only thing I heard as a reason was because it disrupts the teacher when you show up late, and then makes it so that they have to either catch you up or they just continue on and you didn't hear the first 15 minutes or whatever, however long it is. And it disrupts the teacher too much, so they penalize you for it.
That's the oh my God.
That doesn't make any sense to me. Absolutely not.
So it's not just the corporate world that is against us. It's also the education system, at least in America. And I know having multiple, having friendships is hard too, because your different things can clash.
That's true. Sometimes it's nice and your neurodivergencies kind of click together. And then sometimes it's oh, we both have this. That's not good.
Sometimes it's me wanting to show up to a show a half an hour early, and Emily completely losing her mind because I made her go to this place really, really early.
I was so viscerally uncomfortable. We showed up to this show 15 minutes early. No one was there. It was just us, dressed like we were going to a punk show, just standing on the street, nobody else around.
Oh my God.
We go up to the door, door's locked. Because it's always
we'll just
and so
wait.
We'll just wait. So now we're just standing on the sidewalk. I wanted to disappear.
Oh my God.
I'm this is why I show up 15 minutes late. This is why. This sucks. Because then you can see where everyone's going. You're okay, the door's open, it's unlocked, people are going in. Okay, that's where I go. I have to watch the patterns of the people.
No, I have to be the first one in there.
Blend in.
I can,
Oh my God.
So all of these things to say that we, all 3 of us, have kind of done our level best to avoid having to work in a corporate setting, and Emily and I have avoided college.
Well, you and I got to talk about our biggest
I'm also
hurdles.
a dropout over here.
Oh, yeah.
No, I gave it 2 tries. Both times I just stopped going. It was entirely because of PTSD. I will say that entirely. Wasn't diagnosed with that until I was 20, after I dropped out 2 times. But yeah, no, I'm part of the did not complete college family too.
Yeah. So tell us about your biggest difficulties with living with these alphabet.
Yeah, mine's time blindness. Hello.
Mine's major anxiety.
Mine is, I'd probably, to sum it up, I'd say the weight of the world is I have the most trouble looking at single things. I can only ever see everything all at once. And it almost is like a tsunami. And once it starts, you literally can't stop it until you're in the middle of a breakdown. And it's, spending every minute of every day trying to fend that off pretty much, and just kind of keep yourself going and in line. Because once it starts to gain momentum, there's very little I can do to stop it. And all I can really do at that point is just cry it out, because my body doesn't really know what else to do, which, very, very inconvenient when you're in a library. And you can't really exactly, the thing with PTSD is you have no control over it. It's just, when something gets you, it gets you. And there's very little you can do to stop it. So, I was getting up and rushing out of the class to go cry in the bathroom. I was booking library rooms to go break down in the corner. And, it reached a point where I was like, I can't keep doing this to myself. And And I was a good student both times. Before I dropped out, I was getting all A's and B's. Like I was, I'm smart. I'm fucked up, but I'm really smart.
Man, do we feel that so hard?
Yes. Yeah. And yeah, so it's really, really hard. And it's really hard to try and explain it to anybody. And when you're, I was 18 when I tried school the first time, 19 when I tried it the second time. And, especially when you grew up without even knowing you were autistic and you've got all these big emotions, you can't even figure out what they mean, where they're going, my emotions are so all over the place that I'll be talking about the Taylor Swift Easter eggs and shit. And I just get so passionate about it that I start crying. And it's a nightmare being young and confused in university for the first time and just like having no control over your emotions whatsoever, none. The teacher could, I was in a crim class once and they were talking about assault and done, out of the room, crying in the bathroom. And at a certain point, I was just like, I just can't do this. And I wasn't in a place where I was particularly ready to get help because I still didn't even really know what was going on. I just thought I was broken, So I just ended up dropping out twice. Same thing happened the second time. But the second time I did go try and talk to a counselor. And they said that with the proper documentation, one day I might be able to get a little bit of the funds back from it. If I was able to obtain the proper diagnoses and stuff, which I have now. And actually someday I might look at going back. But 2 tries of dropping out because PTSD is a lot and I'm just not there yet. And I don't know if I ever will be, but it's just one of the hardest things ever when you're trying to go through school and you're getting PTSD flashbacks in the middle of class, the library, whatever it be. And you just can't get away from it. It's everywhere.
I think the worst thing that ever happened to me when I had a PTSD breakdown, and this goes back to being in the corporate world and trying to manage having these things, I was on my way to work. I was walking from Penn Station in Manhattan. I used to use my earliness to walk to my job, which was only about 30 blocks. It sounds like a lot, but it's not. Up to my job. And on the way, I knew what happened. I figured it out. I saw someone who looked like my abuser. And I just went into a panic in the middle of Times Square in Manhattan where I was crying and I was freaking out and I was hyperventilating, which is totally normal for someone in Manhattan. Like people are just walking by me like it's nothing because they've no, literally it is. Nobody stopped and asked me if I was okay. Nobody did anything because that's Manhattan. But I had to collect myself and go to work when this really horrible thing happened. And the entire shift, I fucked up so many drink orders. I was like forgetting people's names. I rang the wrong change. My drawer ended up being like short by like $50 that night because my brain was so messed up from this episode I had before work that like I should have been able to go to my job and tell them what happened. Yeah. And they would be like, okay, go home.
Yeah.
But I knew that wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
I was so terrified to tell them that this happened that I just sucked it up and did a really shitty job.
I sucked it up and was terrible at my job.
Yeah.
I've been there.
My turn. So I had a breakdown at work. Mine was at the bank. I showed up late again to open the bank, which is a big no-no. That's a not thing because there's like a lot of security measures that go with opening a bank. And so you have to be there on time. It's like almost like a dance. And so I was late getting there and the person I was working with was not very nice to me already. She did not like me. And we get inside and she whips around as soon as she locks the door, like behind us, she whips around on me and she starts yelling at me. She was like, you cannot do this. You cannot, not my boss. This is a coworker. She starts, you cannot do this. Like and I start to explain because I really did, like, there really was a wreck on the road. I should have left earlier, but like, there really was a wreck on the road that I couldn't predict that. And so I was like trying to explain that there was a wreck and she put her hand up and stopped me. And she was like, I don't want to hear your excuses. Oh, and that specific phrase is a trigger for me because my entire life, like growing up, it was like every time I was late to anything, I would always explain, because to me, I was like, it made sense why I was late. It made sense. If you think about like, please just let me explain. I found this thing and it led to this thing and I did this and now I'm late. And they never wanted to hear it. And it was always, I don't want to hear your excuses. Emily, you always have excuses. You always have and to me, I'm like, it's not an excuse. I'm just explaining. And so it used to make me so upset. And so she said this to me and I immediately burst into tears in front of her. Oh. Like if she was me, if anyone felt like more of a hassle, it was her in that moment, because she just screamed, she yelled at me, and I immediately just like whole burst into tears, sobbing, hyperventilating, completely had a breakdown, trying to now explain why this was happening as well. So I was like crying and also like, I'm sorry, I just cry when I'm upset. Like, I'm like, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm apologizing because I cry when I'm mad. And so I was mad. And then I also then set myself into a panic attack. It was the worst. And she proceeded to like walk away from me like, to finish opening the bank. I think she was confused. She brought me tissues. I think she was trying to be helpful, but also like didn't want to embarrass me because I was actively having a mental breakdown. I finished. And once I had like my breath back to me, she was like, I went over to her and I was just kind of like, hey, you can't do that to me because one, you're not my boss. And two, I get really overwhelmed when people yell at me. I don't know what else. Like I had to say that. I had to just say, I get really overwhelmed when people yell at me. And I cried. Like I felt so silly. I was like, I feel so embarrassed. I'm so silly. I don't know. I don't know. But you can't do that to me because it makes me really upset. Like if you have a problem with me, that is fine. We can handle it, but you can't come at me like that because it really freaks me out. And she was like, I understand. I will not do that again. And here she did not do that again. Good. My boss did. I went to my boss when she came back and was like, hey, this happened. Because like I ended up getting yelled at and then I ended up like freaking out. Hey, this is what happened. And then she was thankfully like, okay, like she's not supposed to yell at you because she's your coworker. So like there's that. So you're within your rights to be upset about that. So like that's okay. Like she was completely fine with it. But she was also like, be on time. Like, yeah. Okay, stop making me open the bank. How about that?
Yeah. That's another huge thing. Like I'm an insomniac, right? And I worked for Starbucks for a while. And the one I worked at opened at 4:15.
It's funny, we all three worked at Starbucks. Sorry, keep going.
I think it's something about the chaos in the ADHD brain. And, it works until it doesn't.
Yes. That's so fucking valid. It does.
I worked there for almost 2.5 years and I was an opener, but the one I worked at in one of the busiest ones in Western BC, opened at 4:15 in the morning. And I told them when I started that I'm a chronic insomniac and I struggle to get up in the morning. So in order to make that work, I had to flip my entire way of living. I would sleep during the day and I would get up at like 9 or 10 o'clock and then just stay up for a couple of hours, do what I had to do, and then go to work and come home and go straight to sleep. And it's just like, for some people can start at that time of the day. Why not let somebody who can do that? Why does it have to be me?
Trying to force your workers to do things that their bodies can't do.
Exactly. Just like expecting stuff, even when we tell people that we struggle with these things and it just goes in one ear, out the other, over their head. And, they still have these expectations of us that we aren't even like physically or mentally able to achieve. Like, I'm sorry, if you want me to do that, I'll do my best. I'll probably have a really hard time and I'll probably fail at it a lot just because of the way my brain is built. I don't want to fail at it. I want to succeed. But these are my body's limitations, and there's nothing I or you can do about it. So if you're going to make me do this, just know I will be failing at it relatively. I'm going to be late often, or I'm going to probably fuck this thing up, or this, that, and the other thing. It's like, I'm trying to let you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
and
your
it's
expectations
also
properly. Like I'm not, my brain is built different.
Yeah. I think it's also the thing that gets me the most about it is when you do share these disabilities with people in the workforce, you tend to get shamed for it. They make you feel bad for being this way. And it's like, guys, I can't change the color of my eyes as much as I can't change that I have this disease. Like, yeah, what do you want me to do? Because I can't, but you're making me feel shame for it. You're making me feel guilty that like I have a mental breakdown if I hear a specific man's name.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
What the fuck?
And I think so all of these issues obviously led us all to pursue different kinds of work, because it was hard to have a 9-to-5 job when you can't take what would be considered normal criticism in the workplace, which I think is far too fucking harsh. Be nice to your workers. What's wrong with y'all? And secondly, when you can't just be on time, and if you get overwhelmed by certain things like a lot and can't avoid them, like it's hard to start a job and let them know and have these kinds of accommodations, especially if you don't have a diagnosis, which here in the US, it is incredibly difficult to get a diagnosis and it's incredibly expensive. I'm very lucky to have my ADHD diagnosis, and my ASD diagnosis is not, it's a soft diagnosis because I have not had an official test, but I had an actual doctor tell me, but I can't pay for the official test. And the other thing is, if I do that, like it's so messy here in the US. Like if you actually get, like, you're like, okay, great, I get certified to like have all these accommodations that I need, but then it also takes away some stuff from you so you're now no longer able to do certain things. Like it's a lot to process here. And so what a lot of us have done is create our own jobs, essentially. Nicole and I started a business with our partners called Novi, which produces this podcast, and also has a small business accelerator program, which helps out people who are neurodivergent, who need to start their business, like Pyper. And so we were able to reach out and put our skills to good use. So when people want to start a business, but it's really hard and they can't, starting a business is so hard. And especially if you're neurodivergent, they don't tell you anything. So like, we just help you do that part of it. Take care of your website, take care of all the math and all the stuff. And so you can just focus on creating and actually starting your business. And that has been really fun for Nicole and I. And we get to set our own hours. We get to decide what that means for us. And I can also text my coworkers and be like, sorry, time blindness, I'll be there in a minute. And it's accepted. They're like, okay, it's amazing. I don't even have to make up anything. I don't have to give an excuse because I don't need one. Like they don't need my excuses because they just don't need, and they don't need me to explain myself, not because they don't need my excuses. Like it's different and it's nice and it's comforting to be able to create that environment. So that's my favorite part. And I understand, again, it is privileged to be able to start your own business and make your own hours and stuff like that. And we're not in a place that's like, this is all I do for a living forever right now, but like hopefully one day. And it's super exciting. And it's honestly like at this point, our only choice, because what else are we supposed to do? But yeah, that's my favorite part of it, is that I can actually just be honest with my coworkers about how my brain is feeling, and everyone's just okay with that.
Absolutely.
My boss is making noise right now. My boss is a 3-year-old.
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
I mean, I think that's what, so part of my, I want to say a lot of what has led me to do what I'm doing right now is not just because I wanted to help my friend out, which I did, but also because I like working with children. And I talked to my own therapist about this, and she said it's helping you heal your own childhood. because like a lot of my trauma is childhood trauma. And she was like, working with kids and seeing them thrive and being a good person in their life helps heal your childhood trauma. So like, it's like something that it's my job, which is taking care of a 3-year-old right now, is good for me because it's helping heal my own trauma. So like, that's my favorite part about being my own boss and like having my own things, because the person that I work with or the people that I work with are also understanding of like my issues. Like Emily and Nathan, they're my best friends, so I don't have to worry about, you know, feeling bad or whatever if I'm not having a great brain day and I don't think I can do a good job taking care of this kid. So I'm just like, hey guys, I don't feel good today. Is that okay? And they're like, of course. Like, no problem.
The other day, she just said she felt fuzzy.
Like Emily came into my room and she like was like rubbing me. She's like, hey babe, it's like 9:00 in the morning. And I was like, I'm really fuzzy. And she was like, okay, go back to bed. And so I went back to bed and I slept the entire day.
And then I woke her up at 4 p.m.
Oh my gosh.
And I said, you haven't eaten or gone to the bathroom. You need to. This is like a body health thing.
Oh yeah. At that point, you gotta just for 10 minutes, just take it up for 10 minutes.
I was awake for like 2 more hours. I took my medication, like I ate, went to the bathroom. I was up for a little bit. And then I took my medication and I like went right back to bed for another like 10 hours. And then I was fine the next day. Like,
yeah, but that's what we mean by like, that's an incapacitating thing, being fuzzy for a day. And like, how do you say that to a boss in the corporate world? You can't.
No.
But yet, like, she said it to me. She was like, I'm fuzzy. And I was like, okay, bye. Have fun. Like, you need a day. Like, I don't need any more information than that. You don't have to explain yourself. I get it. Fuzzy. You feel fuzzy. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Do what you need to do. But yeah. So Pyper, what is your favorite part about being able to, you know, set your own stuff?
I'd say my favorite part is just being able to say yes to what I feel like my body and my brain need in that moment, you know, the last job I worked at, it was a great job. I'm one of those rare neurodivergents that tends to get a job and stay somewhere for a long time. I was there for just over half a decade, actually. And part of it is that I had wonderful, understanding bosses who were really just amazing. I would break down and they'd be like, I'm not going to fire you because you're too good at your job. So we're going to talk this out because we can't lose you. Mm-hmm. So, but, oh shit, I totally derailed. My favorite part about being my own boss. Mm-hmm. Yes. But it was part of that too, is it was a small business. So it was a little bit more flexible than any type of traditional business. It was really just, when I started, it was me and one other coworker. And for a while there was 3 of us. And then for a while there was 2 of us. And then I left and I trained the new person. But, whenever I had to go to the bathroom or something, I would have to grab the keys, put the sign on the door, lock the door so I could go to the bathroom and then go unlock the door and do this whole thing, which, isn't that big of a deal. But with a body like mine, that some days I won't pee at all. Most days I will go to the bathroom maybe 3 times in an hour, and then once in the hour, and then maybe 5 times in the hour. It happens a lot. Mm-hmm. And sometimes, it wouldn't be great because there might be a customer outside the door waiting for me. They're like, I was here a half hour ago and the door was locked too. I'm like, I'm so sorry. My bladder doesn't regulate very well. Just bathroom breaks, I promise. But just being able to get up and go to the bathroom when I have to go to the bathroom, because I don't get a lot of warning either. And if there's people in the store when I have to go to the bathroom, then I'm verging, literally wetting my pants at work. Mm-hmm. It would happen all the time. And just not having to experience the fear of, am I about to wet myself in the middle of my shift because I cannot get to the bathroom right now, is probably my favorite thing.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Listen, Emily and I have both had children. Nothing fucks your body up more than having a child. And so we get that. I get that.
So you get the whole feeling you're going to wet yourself.
I get that at least because it didn't happen to me until after I had a kid, but I didn't realize how much my body had changed physically in that sense, like I actually got yelled at my Starbucks job for taking more bathroom breaks. And I'm like, listen, my body different. Like it's not what I was able to do a year ago, I am no longer able to do, or like it's different now. So I go to the bathroom way more. So I get that. It's wonderful not having to worry about like, do I have to like close down my register and close down the store and do all these things? I get it.
Speaking of Starbucks, I just had a memory come back to me that I thought was, I don't know where it came from, but I remember, I know this happened. I was in the drive-thru working and I was like, hey, I need to go to the bathroom. To my manager, they're like, I'm sorry, we have nobody to swap you out. You need to stay there. And I was like, I don't think you understand. I need to go to the bathroom. They're like, I'm sorry, the people on break are outside. I can't go get them. You're just give me 5 minutes. And I was like, I am about to pee my pants. And they're like, I'm so sorry, just give me 5 minutes. And like, not even 30 seconds later, I walk up to them and I was like, I lift my apron. I'm like, hey, I peed my pants. I'm going home. And I literally peed myself in the drive-thru.
Oh my God. People do not honestly understand like the physical demands that go with like working food service or working like any sort of like public facing jobs, because they really do assume that like you're not a person who needs to use the bathroom and things like that. So they're just like, cool. So you work these hours, you work, 8 hours, and we're going to assume that you do not have to go to the bathroom at any point during that day. And that's wild to me. And like, they're like, oh, well, you have your lunch break. Okay. My lunch break is 30 minutes. Like you expect me to take that 30 minutes. And in that time, like collect myself, go to the bathroom, get my lunch and eat and do all of that in 30 minutes. And then get back in the back and get clocked in and everything and my apron on and all that before I have to get back out. That's not happening. Like,
that's another thing.
Like people just like, we can't have our food service workers wetting themselves because we can't get them a break.
I'm not kidding. That's not the only time. That wasn't the only time I wet my pants working at Starbucks.
But that's another thing that like people don't understand about these disabilities that we have is that it's not just mental stuff. Those mental things impact our physical bodies.
Yeah.
So like, it's things like not being able to go to the bathroom or having to go to the bathroom a lot. It's things like, for me, I get chest pains and like have like heart attack like symptoms when I have anxiety. I might not even be able to be visibly having a panic attack, but my body is having the panic attack.
Absolutely. I get it.
And then I get migraines. Like I'll give myself migraines because of it, because I'm holding all of my panic inside and it's hurting my brain. Like,
yeah.
And they don't get it.
They don't. I was just going to say, I'm also part of the heart palpitation station crew.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. I get the heart palpitations and I also feel like I'm going to pass out. That's fun. Love
where
that.
you get like, I call it the woozies, where like you get like hot and flushed. And then you feel like your whole brain just goes, whoa.
Yeah.
Like I call it the woozies.
Your vision goes a little bit sparkly.
Yes.
It's like a little sparkly.
Yes. And everyone's like, I don't understand why you can't do your job. And I'm like, you expect me to look at someone's bank account and count back money to them when I feel like this?
Yeah.
I am doing important work.
It's like when you're sick and you stand up too fast and you're like, ooh, but like all the time and you can't control when it happens. Random moments.
Yeah.
You could be taking 3 steps across a floor and suddenly you're like, whoa.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, for real though. Like there's so much to having ADHD, ASD, CPTSD, like all of the other, like there's so much more than just I get sad. Like, or like I'm
tired.
There's mental and physical actual disabilities involved in this.
Mm-hmm.
Like people need to start recognizing that. Like we're not just lazy. We don't need to go get some fresh air, like take a walk. Like what?
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many people have said that to me. Like, oh, you're depressed? Go take a walk.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Okay. Sure.
Anyway, so as much as it is kind of like a privileged take to say we work for ourselves because ADHD, but like honestly, kind of like that's what we have nothing else to do. It's either like for me, it's either this or be unemployed. it's it. Like, I'm not going to find a boss that I can be that honest with. So like, that's just what I have to do. And as like, while I know that not everyone can do that, I do want to say, if you are neurodivergent and you're trying to start a business, you can reach out to Novi Studios, novistudio.io. And yeah, we'd actually love to help you. This is what we do. And yeah, and as much as it is a privileged thing, if you can do it, if you could make your own hours, if you can make it so that you are only beholden to yourself, it is pretty worth it. It's nice.
Absolutely. I never would have been able to get this business to where it is already without Novi Studios. Like, I never would have been able to do it. I still don't know half the stuff you guys do. And I think I'm drowning now. I don't even want to imagine if I had tried to do this entirely by myself. I don't even want to look at that. I would have quit like after like 2 weeks.
A lot of people do. So many people that I've talked to, I've told like, this is what we do as Novi Studios. And they're like, wow, I tried to start a business and I quit. Like, I gave up. Because it's hard, and there are a lot of predatory practices out there, like Etsy and things like that. But we will get into that story a little bit later. For now, we are pulling into our rest stop here at the hyperfixation station. And as per usual, we like to turn this over to our guest. So today we have Pyper leading our hyperfixation station, and we are going to talk about Taylor Swift, specifically the new Red album. So if you want to, I know nothing. I am Jon Snow here. I have no idea what's happening. I know that Nicole knows a lot about the drama, the tea behind Taylor and her life.
All of it. That's celebrity gossip is something that I don't mean to know a lot about. It happens. I just read a lot.
Yeah. And then Pyper definitely has a lot more of a handle on the music itself. So I listen
to a lot of Taylor Swift. Most days I have a playlist of all of Taylor Swift songs, and I just hit shuffle on the top of the playlist and just let it shuffle through them all.
Is that so here's the question. Is it every single Taylor song, or is it like your favorites? Like, this is a curated playlist of like my top 200 favorite songs.
It is every single Taylor Swift song, but I will also skip as needed. Sometimes because there are certain songs that I feel like listening to, but I have a hard time identifying my own emotions. So I will use the skip to help me find a song that reflects what I am feeling.
I love that.
And then it kind of helps me put words and feelings to my emotions. And then I can kind of think, reflect on my situation while I listen to the song. And, it actually ends up being a really good tool for me because she has so many different types of songs with so many different types of situations. And, there's fun songs, heartbreaking songs, love songs, literally country songs. There's everything. And so I know them all and I love them all. So for me, I just generally tend to hit the shuffle button, and I'll just keep shuffling until I find a song. I'm like, oh, this is the mood right now. This is what I feel like I need.
I didn't realize I do that. I think I do that with my own music, and I didn't realize that. That is exactly what I'm doing though, is skipping till I find like the mood. What am I feeling?
Oh yeah.
I need the vibe. Here's a question. You don't have to answer it because it might be a hard one, but because I know how much you love Taylor. I love her too. Do you have a favorite album?
My favorite album, I have two that are tied probably, Red and 1989. Nice. And those would be because of where I was in my life when they were released.
1989 bucks. It's one of the only albums I ever listened to.
Oh yeah. I actually went to the tour when she came to Vancouver. Her being my favorite artist, my grandparents surprised me with T-zone floor tickets for me and a friend. And I've never cried so much at a concert in my life. And I've been to plenty. I'm a music festival person. I'm a raver, which, when it comes to neurodivergence, most of us either love going to music festivals or despise going to music festivals. And I'm the former. Yeah.
I get overwhelmed. Me and Pyper are like, fuck yeah, throw us into a fest. And Emily's like, never.
Right. And
too many sounds. I have sound issues. So
that's fair. Honestly, I totally get it. For me, I love just the overstimulation. I can't hear anything else. All I am is just actually present in the moment for once, because I'm always stuck in my head. But it was one of the best concerts I have ever been to. It was like therapeutic because I'd been listening to the album on repeat since it came out because of what was going on in my life at the time. And it was just it was everything I needed at that point in my life. And I don't think any album will ever measure up to 1989 or to Red for me ever, just because of how impactful it was for me.
Mine's a really stupid reason. I think I love red the most because red's my favorite color. And
I love that though. That's amazing.
But also because the songs I have, and it's what I'm terrible. I haven't listened to the re-release because Emily's reason is the same as mine. Like, I don't think I'm mentally prepared for it at the moment. But like that, I love the artwork for it when it originally dropped. Like, I loved when she was going through her whole like very like classic 60s, 50s, like the red lip and that song, like I got the red lip classic, thing that I like. That's like, I love that song. And that was when she was dating the Kennedy for a hot minute. And then a lot of those songs, the John Mayer songs on there and the Jake Gyllenhaal song, not John Mayer, the Jake Gyllenhaal songs on there. I think that's why that's my favorite album, because the boys that she was singing about are also some of my favorites of hers.
Very true.
Oh my God.
That's so funny. I forget that she dated the Kennedy for like a hot minute.
I always forget about that too. I also forget about Calvin Harris all the time.
Oh my God. Yeah. They were together. That was the relationship that she was in before Reputation, when she was dropped off.
They say Getaway Car is about her escaping her relationship with Calvin Harris, and she's in the getaway car when she runs into Tom Hiddleston.
Yeah, which was such a wild relationship, but I love it. I'm here for it. And now she's dating Joe Alwyn, who she's been with for like 5 years now, and there's not a whole lot about them, but like, he's great. I love him. I don't know if you've seen The Favorite, but that movie's fantastic.
I didn't even know she was dating someone else.
They're very quiet about it.
Bad. Honestly, like I'm proud of her. Like, do that. Have a quiet relationship. Like, I feel like the media doesn't leave her the fuck alone. Like, damn. Like, I feel like if Taylor Swift had risen to stardom in the 90s, she would have been like forced to pull a Britney by a paparazzi by now because of how they used to act. Like, they're a lot better now. But they still like rag Taylor Swift. Like, basically she can't go out in public with anyone ever, or else they're like, Taylor Swift dating someone else.
She can't be seen in public with anybody who is quite honestly, male or female, a couple, like frequently in a short period of time, because the media is like dating.
Taylor Swift steps out with blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
Or they do this weird thing, because I know that like being a part of Taylor's squad, her friendship squad, like they were overhyping it so much that when a member would drop off, they would immediately be like, why is Taylor Swift not friends with this person anymore? Like, her and Selena Gomez's friendship fizzled according to the media because they weren't seen together so much. Or like her and oh my God, why can't I think of her name? She married Kushner's brother.
Terrible, whatever.
Yeah, well, I think that's one of the reasons why they're not friends anymore, is because
is that Carly Kloss?
Yeah, Carly Kloss. They were like best friends for a really long time, and she was really cool. And then she married Jared Kushner's brother.
Ew.
And now Taylor Swift are not friends anymore.
Yeah. And neither of them or anyone around them have ever talked about why.
Yeah.
The theories are that NDAs were probably signed.
God, you know what? NDA to be friends with somebody.
That's probably what she's had to do, though.
Yeah, 100%. I'm sure she did, but like, damn, that's wild.
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about why she re-released Red?
Can you tell me everything up until now? Too.
Well, yeah. But like recently she re-released Red. Pyper, do you want to tell us why she's been doing that?
So I don't consider myself to be an expert.
Yeah.
But so
hyperfixation station, you don't have to be an expert on it. It's just what you're interested in right now.
Okay, beautiful. I always like to say that because then people are like, oh, you're not an expert. How can you claim to know what you're talking about?
Nope.
Like, I'm just doing my best with what I'm capable of understanding. So,
yes,
all right.
Exactly.
So, yeah. So Taylor did not own most of her music. She signed a 10-year contract. And so any of the record that came out within that 10-year contract technically belonged to her old recording studio.
Big Machine.
So
yeah, big Machine.
Contract, would that be, so that's her first album up until when?
1989?
1989, I think, was the last one.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah. And I believe Scooter Braun worked for Big Machine, right?
He was the producer.
Yeah, and so, yeah, and so Big Machine was going to sell her masters, and Taylor wanted to buy her masters back. But then they sold to Scooter Braun. They sold them to Scooter Braun instead. Didn't even give her a chance to buy them. She made it clear she wanted to, but then they sold them to Scooter Braun. And then, Scooter Braun, then instead of selling them back to her like she'd wanted, even then he would make a little bit of money. He tried to sell them to somebody else again. And, Taylor had said, if you do this, I'm going to re-record it and those albums are going to be worthless. And so he went to this record company. He's like, buy her masters. She's just bluffing. She'll never actually do it. So they bought her masters. And so Taylor Swift being an absolute icon.
Was like, bet.
She's like, okay, well, if you won't give me that version, then I'll just remake it because it's mine in the first place. Mm-hmm. And so that's exactly what she did. Because after 10 years, her contract expires, and she made sure in her contract it said that she had the right to re-record all of her old songs by herself and own them when her contract was up, which honestly, what teenager thinks of putting that in a decade-long contract? Yeah. Wow. Amazing clause.
I think she should thank her dad for that, because I'm pretty sure I think she said something about, because he was like, he's in business, or that's like what his real life job was. And him and her mom protected her a lot.
Yeah. They did
in a good way, not a show parent, like take advantage of you kind of way. They were actually like good parents and like, did it the right way.
Absolutely. So she basically said, fuck you, Scooter, and decided she was going to start re-recording all of them. And she tanked the value of her old recordings because everybody loves Taylor Swift. She's an icon. She's a legend. She's been through so much. If you've seen her Miss Americana documentary as well, people that aren't even technically fans of Taylor Swift have nothing but respect for her after watching that, because she just perseveres. And, she actually seems like a person, whereas a lot of celebrities seem kind of fake on camera and stuff, but she really does seem like a person. Mm-hmm. And so, she, in order to own all her music and control it, and the record label was very specific about how they wanted some of the songs to sound. So she wasn't even able to release some of them the way she intended them to sound. Mm-hmm. So this is also giving her the opportunity to do that and go back and redo the songs that she wasn't allowed to release the way she actually wanted to, in a way that she loves herself. So that really does help to encapsulate that this really is her own music now. And for some songs, they sound really similar, but then you get songs that sound entirely different, like Girl at Home, which was a country and is now like a pop bop, but like a timeless pop bop. Like it's but you can see that she's just grown so much as an artist, and she's really having fun with it. And it's hers, instead of someone else owning it and holding it over her head and trying to sell it here, sell it there. It's hers. And she can
tell her what to do with it, tell her how to put it out, tell her how to market it, tell her how to do anything. It's literally, that's why I love that it's called Taylor's version and not just because it literally is Taylor's version.
It is. And it's all hers. And that's part of why. And, this whole thing is really showcased hugely why it's so important for artists to own their own music. And I think we'll probably see quite a lot of that in the future, considering if they had released Red the way Taylor had intended the first time, it would have been so much more popular than it even was. And it was already a hit, but just look how popular it's gotten in a week or ever since it was released. I have no sense of dates and like how long,
time blindness.
But, since it was released.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, what I think is really wild is that, and this is why I respect and have always respected Taylor, is because I think she navigated the music industry as a young woman, like a teenager when she started out, and a woman. She navigated it in such a way that like other artists weren't able to, or got the wrong guidance, or people were taking advantage of them. She has done such a good job at staying. And when she said enough is enough, she fucking meant it, and she disappeared and didn't do an interview for like 2 years. It was like, no, you do not get to abuse me. No, you do not get to take advantage of me. No, you do not get to do this. And that has set so many precedents for other artists to now look at that and say, we don't have to take this bullshit just because we want to put out music. We can do it in a way that's healthy, in a way that respects our boundaries, in a way that respects us as artists. Like, I think she's done such an incredible job at being an example.
Absolutely.
I think that's why I respect her so much. And also, like, a lot of things that people didn't like about Taylor for such a long time was like, one of the things that she had such a big platform, but she wasn't using it to stand up for any causes or anything. That's because she wasn't allowed to.
Yeah.
And then finally she said, no, I'm going to do what I want to do. And that's why she's now using her voice to back political candidates, to come out for LGBTQ rights, to, you know, come out for X, Y, and Z, like, because she wasn't allowed to. She literally contractually was not allowed to. And she was tired of it. And that's why you see her now saying the things that she says and hopping on the platform. She's not hopping on, she's always been there.
Yeah.
She's always been standing this. It's just that now she can contractually say it.
Yeah.
Like, which I've always thought was wild.
Talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think a lot of people forget that when Taylor Swift started, I mean, she was a child. She was young.
Yeah.
I mean, I listened to her first album. I remember I had her first album and I would put it on a CD player and I would walk to school. And it would skip and I walked too fast. But yeah, I remember that first album, that country album. I loved it.
I could listen to Teardrops on my guitar on repeat for like days. Like
Our
that song.
Yeah.
Our song is the same screen. Oh my God, it's so good.
I love that. I had a guitar
it.
when I was young, actually, and I have a faint memory of listening to that. When I was like 8 or 9, I had a crush on a boy who didn't like me back, and I have a faint memory of that song playing on my like little boombox, and I'm just like holding my little pink guitar, just like crying, just like being all moody.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah. So good.
I also love the evolution of her, that she's literally hit pretty much every genre of music. That, like, if she puts out a ska album, I will lose my mind. Like, I need ska Taylor. I need pop punk Taylor.
I would love a pop punk Taylor. Okay, she's like a step away. I would love that.
She could do that, because like going from country where she started to like slowly, like, she's done ballads, she's done pop, she's done, and then with folklore, holy shit.
Can we talk about how I listened to the first album, I was very obsessed with her, and then I got into a phase where I was like, I don't like anything that's popular, so like I just didn't like that, you know, I was that jerk.
Oh yeah,
who just doesn't like anything that's popular. So I went from the first album, which is, you know, fairly country leaning, and then I went and I did not listen to Taylor Swift because I was like, man, I don't like anything popular. I'm too good for that. Next thing I listened to was 1989. Talk about a script flip. I was like, this is what she's doing now? This fucks. And I listened to that album like, God, over and over and over and over and over again when it came out. It scratched my brain real good.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So she's definitely changed and grown.
I love.
Really released a song called "Sad Girl Autumn," or is that like the "Sad Girl Autumn" version of a song?
Oh God, don't get me started. I swear she's the only person in history that will take what is known as one of the most heartbreaking songs ever written, then make it 10 minutes long, and then come out with and then just like, I'm gonna make it sadder.
Sadder.
I'm gonna make it sadder. It's already so sad, and then we're gonna make it 10 minutes long of sad. And then we're just going to dump more sad on it. Beautiful.
Oh my God.
Work of art. Work of fucking art.
I will say, I'm gonna start this little train. My favorite. It's so weird. I cannot tell you why this is my favorite song because I don't know the real answer. My jokey answer is that it's about Taylor Lautner and I just love him. My favorite song ever is Back in December. That's my favorite Taylor Swift song.
I love that one.
That's an amazing song.
That was my favorite Taylor Swift song, and it's because she dated a person named Taylor, and I love Taylor Lautner. I think he's just such an adorable. Do you know he's also engaged now to a person whose name is Taylor? I was just gonna say that.
That's so funny. I didn't know that. Taylor.
Just got engaged like a week ago to his girlfriend of a couple of years, who's also named Taylor.
That's
the Taylor Lautners.
The Taylor Lautners. No.
So fucking funny. Anyway, that's my favorite Taylor Swift song, Back in December. I don't know why. That's probably why.
Fair. Let me see. I think if I had to pick the one that gets stuck in my head, the one that if I'm just walking around is probably going to be in my head, is Style. I think we never go out of style. It's just, it hits my brain right. It like scratches it real good. It's that beat. And like, for some reason, after I heard 1989, like it's anytime someone says the word style, my brain just, so I'm going to have to call it at that. I'm going to say that one's my favorite.
I got my Spotify Wrapped today.
Ooh,
so I'll be able to tell you which is my most listened to one.
Yay!
My top artist was Taylor Swift, absolutely. But
mine was Carly Rae Jepsen.
Carly Rae Jepsen, I love that. She's a Canadian icon.
This is like the third episode in a row that I'm wearing a Keep Flying shirt, and it's totally apropos because Keep Flying was my number one listened artist on Spotify, and they're my favorite band.
Mm-hmm.
So according to Spotify, my number one is Don't Blame Me.
Ooh,
okay.
I gotta listen to that one.
Don't Blame Me. Number two is I Know Places. Number three is Exile.
Ooh.
I felt like there was other ones I listened to more, but I'm gonna trust it. You know, I'm indecisive as fuck. I'm not gonna be able to sit here and pick one without going on a 20-minute rant about why I like all of these four, and I can't narrow it down. So I'm just gonna let Spotify tell me which one's my favorite.
Listen, I do that with, so like we did an episode 0 where we talked about ourselves and on our D&D podcast, and we asked each other questions, and one of them was, what's your favorite movie? And I can't answer that. So I did a top 5. And my number one in my top 5 is the Star Wars entirety. Like I can't pick which Star Wars movie I like most. So I like all of them, and that's number one. Every Star Wars movie ever.
It's tied for one.
I love that.
So like your favorite Taylor Swift song can be every Taylor Swift song ever.
Tied for what?
I would say that's probably accurate.
That's fair.
That's probably accurate. I'm such a hyper-focused person that I find a song, I'm like, this is the one. And then I'll listen to it until I'm out of that mood. I'll just the same one on repeat. And that'll be my favorite song that week. And then the next week, I find another one that really just vibes with how I'm feeling. And it's the only thing I'll listen to for a week. So it varies. It's really hard to narrow down a favorite.
Yeah, I'm definitely in that camp. I would not consider myself a Carly Rae Jepsen fan. But somehow I was in her 0.005% of listeners, which I didn't know it went down that low.
She was like, Carly Rae Jepsen's going to have me arrested.
Absolutely. She has to have me. There's no way. That's so creepy. That's so weird. I listened to over 73 hours. I got really hyper-focused on one album of hers that I couldn't even tell you the name of. It's gray. She's on the cover of it in a white dress. And the song Julian is on it because that song I listened over and it just, it itched my brain so good for like months. So I listened to this song over and over and over and over and over. So I listened to a total of like 73 hours. All of my top few songs were Carly Rae Jepsen songs. I haven't listened
all of mine were Keep Flying. And let me tell you, I love them as musician, like musically, I love them. They're so fucking good. But like, can I just tell you how embarrassing it is that my favorite band and the most listened to, all 5 songs, were from this band who I'm actively friends with in real life.
So it is an actually little bit embarrassing.
It is a little bit embarrassing. But I posted it. I was like, hey guys, look how much I love you. And I bet you I'm going to get a text message from John, because this is how he is. He's going to be like, thanks, babe, love you. And I'm going to be like, dear God, just shoot me in the face right now. Like, I'm actually friends with my favorite band.
Yeah.
It's super embarrassing that they're my number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 listened song.
Yeah, it's been wild. Anyway, on that note, let us pull out of Hyperfixation Station. It was lovely to learn about Taylor for a little bit. I might
stand her forever. If you don't like Taylor Swift, get off this podcast.
Yeah, even me, who claimed I didn't like Taylor Swift forever. Come on, I'm already on board. One day I will listen to the Red re-release. I will. Today is not that day.
She has an album for everyone. Really, she does.
Yes.
Yep.
So let's move on to our next destination, which is to talk about DMC. I want to talk about Pyper's business. I want to talk about why you started it, what you're hoping to do with it, new stuff coming to the store, all of it.
All right. So as I've kind of mentioned throughout, as we've been filming this, I used to work at a small business. I actually managed a vape shop, and I was there for over 5 years. And a huge part of the reason why was because I managed to make the science behind vaping my hyper focus. I managed to find a cheat code to make my job, something about my job, something that I really like. And I've always loved learning. I've always loved science. Mm-hmm. So finding something about the job that I could hone in on, hyper focus in on, allowed me to be there for 5 years. That's really the number one. Mm-hmm. If I didn't have that, if I didn't have science that I could keep reading, keeping up with, something that was fun and, that I really enjoyed, I probably would not have made it that long, but I had that. But my mental health was starting to really deteriorate. And my doctor had recommended to me that I go on disability. And so I quit my job of over half a decade that I honestly really loved a lot. But and so I decided to go on disability. But disability does not pay enough to survive. And I live in Vancouver, which is dubbed the most expensive area in all of Canada. We're talking like California, downtown New York prices. Yeah, there was a house in about 20 minutes outside of Vancouver's core. This is a house that was a tear down. It was there were squatters in there, and it was about a quarter acre maybe. So there's a little yard, but this thing's fallen apart. And a couple years ago, someone was genuinely murdered in it. This house was on the market for $1.2 million.
What? Did the murder improve it?
Because of the plot of land. It wasn't for the house. It was just for the plot of land. It was a tear down to be turned into something else. But $1.2 million.
We gotta eat the rich. Okay.
Yeah. So I have a 950 square foot basement suite, very much outside of Vancouver, and my partner and I pay $14.50 a month, which is
what?
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
I wish I could show you my bathroom. It's actually a closet. It's about, it's wide enough that if my partner and I pass each other like this, like stomach to stomach, we can manage to get around each other and around the sink.
That
I don't even have a bathtub. Yeah. It's
with the conversion rates, I'm paying less for my 3-bedroom house.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Emily's brain just broke.
Oh yeah. And we don't
especially when you said bathtub, don't have a bathtub.
I don't have a dishwasher either. We don't have a dishwasher either.
We don't have a dishwasher, and I fucking hate it. So living at Emily's for the last couple months, having a dishwasher has been so fucking amazing.
You don't realize how much you need a dishwasher until you don't have one.
Yep.
But I was starting to freak out because, working at a vape shop, being disabled, it was a job that I was able to do. I didn't make a whole lot though. And disability is based on your previous income, which, wouldn't even really be enough to cover rent and food, what I would be getting from the government. So, I was making jewelry because I've made jewelry since I was 12. It was something I did not all through high school till abusive ex-boyfriend was like, it's a waste of money. Stop doing that. And I was like, okay. But until before I met him, it was something that I did for years just to help to hone some creativity, have an outlet, somewhere to put the creativity, something I could make and enjoy and just relax, So I figured I was making this jewelry stuff for myself. If I have a need for it, then probably other people do too. Maybe, to make a little bit of extra money, to help, be able to eat and feed my cats because, they got to eat too. So I figured let's try selling some of this jewelry, and Divergent Minds Club was very, very quickly born.
Very quickly.
Yeah, I made a couple of videos. I made a couple of videos on the internet trying to see if, people would be interested in it. And they went viral. They went quite viral. And so I made a huge collection of jewelry, started on Etsy and posted it all. And I sold out in 45 minutes. I probably had 150 to 170 different pieces of jewelry there. And I sold out in 45 minutes.
That's amazing.
Wow.
It was a shock to say the least, because I've never been successful at anything. I'm one of those people that all through high school, kids kind of picked on me. Teachers, too. I was my grade 8 science teacher. She told my mom she didn't believe I had ADHD. She thought I was just stupid and wasn't going to bother teaching me because teaching me was doing a disservice to the students that could actually graduate and get somewhere in life.
Oh my God.
Yeah, my mom almost sued my high school, but
listen, I had a teacher tell me to go kill myself. I feel that.
How do these teachers get hired and not
she
get
got fired?
If you hate kids, don't be a teacher. I feel like I shouldn't have to say that.
Exactly.
Ridiculous.
So wait, let me ask this. So when you went on TikTok and when you went viral, you just had made a bunch of jewelry and then made the video saying, this is what I have, let me show you. Not what I'm asking because even though I already know this because I've seen your TikToks, but I'm asking for the sake of the podcast. So that the stock that you had made, that is what you had put up on Etsy. Originally, yeah.
I made, after I posted a couple of teaser videos and had really good reactions, I spent the next month buying up beads and just sitting down in front of the TV and, coming up with designs, coming up with ideas, trying to figure out how to make a piece of jewelry interactive in as many ways as possible to give people who buy it as many ways as possible to interact with that piece of jewelry. And so, I was just trying to be creative and have some fun with it. And with everything that I had made and some refurbished jewelry that I had and my grandmother had given me, because I always try to be eco-conscious if I can. And refurbished jewelry, sometimes you can find beautiful pieces that they just don't make anything like it anymore, So I had, probably about 150 to 170 things. And Etsy is a nightmare, but I managed to somehow figure it out and get them all listed. And, they were gone immediately, and I still don't know how that happened, and everything still kind of feels like a dream. It's kind of, it just such imposter syndrome, it's
I don't, what are you talking about? What? No.
What?
Yeah.
So I was just wow, okay, apparently there's a lot more people that are interested and have a need for what I'm selling than I thought. So then I fucked around with Etsy for a while, got blocked out of my account because they take a hell of a lot more money than I ever thought. And they'll give you your money, and then a couple days or weeks later, they'll give you a bill. And so if you've spent that money on supplies, they're going to shut you down.
Yeah.
So that was the issue that I had.
Yeah, absolutely ridiculous. I remember that video of you being okay, my store should be open tomorrow. And then it was never mind.
Yeah. And that's actually when I saw a bunch of comments from Emily telling me about Novi Studios and asking me to send her a message because she thought that I'd be a great fit for what you guys do. And the rest is history. Here we are now. I've been working with you guys since I think we opened in the middle of September originally. Did our soft launch for 3 months, kind of feel it out, see where we needed to make tweaks, what needed to be changed, and to help me figure out a system and a rhythm that actually works with my, the massive amount of mixed alphabets in my head. Right. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, so we've closed for the past couple of weeks, but we'll be reopening December 15th. And I'm really excited.
I mean, as much as it's exciting to go viral and like, that's like a good thing. It sounds like there are no downsides. Like your thing went viral. Like, what are you talking about? All your jewelry is selling really fast. Why is that a problem? It becomes a problem when you're one person.
It also becomes a problem when you don't exactly know what you're doing and set things up, which unannounced to you is one of the harder ways to do it.
Yes.
You don't realize that until you're 800 orders in. Yes. You're like, oh no, I've made a grave mistake.
I'm in danger.
I'm in danger.
Close the shop. I know what we need to do now, but this isn't it.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that like, I love that Novi does and allows all of our creators to do is when you are getting overwhelmed with whatever it is that you're doing, you don't have to feel bad about saying, I need to close. Like, I need to take stock and
you don't actually have to like do anything. You just text us.
Yeah. You just be like,
it's amazing.
I like Emily and I haven't been recording episodes of the podcast in a while because life. And then, and nobody was mad at us for it. Nobody was like, oh my God, like there's not going to be, we just send out a tweet saying, hey guys, there isn't going to be a new episode of this podcast because we have shit going on.
We're
people. And people who have feelings and things. And like, we have limitations and we respect those limitations and understand them. And that is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. And I think closing, especially to like figure out what you're doing, like that's what all small businesses do. Like that's a phase that a lot of small businesses go through. They generally just do it in front of a much smaller audience. So you just don't hear about it. But it's very rare that like, it's not like you've been making jewelry for 20 years and you are like, I know I know exactly what I'm doing with this. And it's just like a new influx of orders. It's like you're starting out at doing this and the influx of orders. So you have to figure out how to run a business and how to make jewelry and
try and like, cause that's another, like part of it too, is when I started this, I thought it was going to be tiny. I was going on disability to focus on my mental health.
I get that.
I did not even get the chance to apply.
Oh no.
I would be denied anyways because I'm making more money with this than I did at the vape shop.
Yeah.
So they're gonna take one look at it and be like, you can do it. Meanwhile, I'm here like grinding myself into dust, like having breakdowns, trying to keep up, like, oh man, okay, we gotta do something about this. It's not working. My brain is like, my brain is getting scared. I know I can do it logically, but my brain is getting scared.
And I think with ADHD, especially like you got to find, especially with people like you and I who have the ADHD, ASD crossover, which can sometimes lead to very fun wars in your own brain about which one's worse right now. Which one do I need to pay attention to? And that can become a problem. And especially when you have so many different things you need to be paying attention to at one time. It can become just too much. It's just too much. Like, especially you were talking about overwhelm, like getting to a point where you're like, I'm just too overwhelmed. This is just too much. And this easily can get to that. There's just so much happening. But what's nice about our setup is that when it does happen, it's not like the world is ending, everything is over. It's like, we can like talk through it. We can shift, we can change. We can like, okay, you have to find the thing that works. Especially with ADHD and ASD, like you have things, it's going to be weird. It's not going to be something that like people normally do. But what I like, I call it the basket in the bathroom. But whatever your like weird thing is that you just need, I have a basket in my bathroom because I kept leaving my clothes all over the bathroom floor. So instead of trying to force myself to walk into another room and throw my clothes away or throw my clothes in the hamper, I put another hamper in the bathroom. No more clothes on the floor. It's different. It doesn't make like for other people it wouldn't make sense, but for me, it makes sense. And starting your own business is the same way. Like you're going to have to figure out what fits. You're going to have to find your basket in the bathroom.
Absolutely.
and that does not happen overnight. It's not going to happen tomorrow. Creating like you don't know what you don't know. So it's hard to like figure out what you're going to need because you don't know what you're going to need. You don't know how you're going to feel until you do it. And that's the biggest thing, is just doing it. And like, I am immensely proud of you and your business and everything you've done so far, because you're just doing the dang thing. And that's the hardest part, is figuring out the problems. And the only way to figure it out is to do it.
I also want to add to say that before I got a piece of your jewelry, it never occurred to me to be like upset at normal jewelry for just how ableist it actually is. So I was one of Pyper's main selling points, I think, is the fact that the accessibility of your jewelry. My favorite thing about that accessibility is your clasps.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not realize just how fucking important these clasps were. If you're seeing on the video sheet, this is so huge, guys. I was on vacation with my partner, and I had asked him to bring some of my jewelry because we were going to go out and dress up and all this stuff, and I wanted to put some of my stuff on. Pyper's jewelry is the only jewelry that I have that has that accessible clasp. And when I went to go try to put on my other jewelry, I bite my nails and I can't get the little teeny fucking bit to like open the little fucking claw. Like, what the fuck? I never realized just how fucking ableist jewelry is.
Yeah.
Until I got Pyper's jewelry, y'all, and it just snaps in place, and that's
it holds. Like, it's not a weak magnet.
There. I slept in this necklace for a week straight, just partly to test my jewelry and make sure, because this is just one of the stone spinners. So it's small, it's, lightweight. It's the kind of thing that you could sleep in. So, in case somebody did fall asleep with it on, I wanted to test it. So I slept in it for a week straight and the thing didn't fall off.
Amazing.
It's incredible.
One time I've woken up and it was on the bed, and I'm pretty sure that was probably because it got tangled, and instead of choking me, it just unclipped.
That's another thing. As someone who falls asleep and forgets to take things off, I like wake up sometimes and I'm like, thank God I didn't choke to death in my sleep. Yeah. And it has never happened with Pyper's jewelry.
That's absolutely valid. And also people who have like anxiety about sleeping in necklaces and stuff, like they don't have to worry about falling asleep with it on because it's got a magnet and it'll just come off if it gets too tight.
Like I literally will just take hold of it and just go boop.
It's the same thing I do.
It's so wonderful.
Yeah.
How I take it
so good. It's so dramatic.
It is. I did not realize just how fucking ableist jewelry in general is until I had Pyper's jewelry, and it changed my whole life.
The magnetic clasp option was actually entirely inspired by my grandmother. She, a number of years ago, we were on a family vacation and a trunk got slammed over her thumb. So her thumb hasn't worked for probably about 50 years. And so she has a really hard time putting on necklaces. And whenever she gets jewelry, she would always ask me to swap them for magnets, or make her earrings with she'd buy earrings, but she couldn't get them in. So then she would ask me to use the type of hook that she can get in her ear easier.
The bigger one.
Yeah. And so, just having all of those little aspects and me like reflecting on it and being like, hey, if my grandmother needs me to do this, I know she's not the only one. And, and I've started reflecting further is like, there are days even when like I'm having really bad anxiety, when I want to get my necklace off, but my hands are shaking so bad and I can't get it off. And so, this allows me, if I'm having anxiety, I can't have something around my neck. I can just rip it right off. And because I've ripped necklaces off before, knowing that I was about to break them.
Break it.
But I had to get it off. It had to come off in that moment. And so, and having those conversations with my grandmother and trying to help her meet her needs so that, she could wear jewelry and, be happy and feel pretty and all that stuff, and trying to make sure that it worked for her. It helped to inspire making sure that it works for everybody.
Yeah. Like literally, like you don't need to have any of these neurodivergencies. You don't need to like, it's none of that has to be a factor as to why you buy it. You could buy it just because they're gorgeous pieces of jewelry, because they are. But know that they come with these incredible accessible features that you never thought you needed until you had it and then didn't have it and tried to wear something else. Like, I can't wear any other jewelry now because I bite my nails and Nova always has to get the clasps for me, but sometimes Nova can't because Nova's hands shake. It's just part of it's just what happens. And so then I'm just like, all right, I can't wear this jewelry unless it's something that can go over my head. Like it's long enough of a chain. I don't wear it.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons I don't wear jewelry.
Question. So I guess this can bring us to the next part. Pyper, do you have any ideas for things going forward? Any like big dreams of things you want to add? Mostly I'm thinking about this because, God, I hate trying to put on a bracelet with the glass. I would love a magnetic bracelet. That just sounds amazing. I thought about it.
I've been designing, actually, I have a little sketchbook where when I have ideas, I'll kind of just like grab a pen or a pencil and I'll just like chicken scribble what it might look like. And so I actually have a couple of designs for fun different bracelets. I've got, some with some charms. I've got some that kind of wrap around here and then go up. And then go around one of your fingers. I've got a whole bunch of different fun designs that are interactive in different ways. And they will be coming in the future. I am just trying to catch up before I put much more else on my plate and make sure that, everything is in place so that I can, with everything I've learned in the past couple of months, I know the tweaks that I need to make so that it'll run perfectly smoothly and people will get their orders in a wonderful time frame because I'm no longer learning, I'm just doing. And that is all coming up in the future. I've got a bunch of bracelets I want to design. I'm also going to be releasing a luxury line, which I've had a lot of people requesting because right now my focus has always been accessibility. So, I get the moons, but I use a cheaper chain. Durable as hell, but it does discolor. Like this once upon a time was gold, but after sleeping in it for 4 months, it's bronze. But yeah, so I'm going to have a luxury line eventually as well. That's going to have, sterling silver, titanium, or 24 karat gold plated, different actual like real carved stones for the other pieces. They're going to be significantly more expensive, but for the person that wants to make that investment, they most definitely can. Because there's been a couple of people, that have, I assume, much higher expectations for my $15 earrings than the website describes the earrings to be. So this way, because my focus is always going to be accessibility and I don't want to do anything to change that. So the best solution is just add more. Yeah. Add new.
I think a lot of people forget that with accessibility, it includes being able to actually buy the product.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, it's not just like, I think one of my favorite things that was said by someone who helps with disability in gaming is it doesn't matter if there's an escalator or an elevator on the inside if I can't get in the door.
Yeah.
Like if there's no way for me to enter the building, like you only have stairs. I don't care that you put an escalator inside. I don't care that you put an elevator in there because I can't get in it. And that's kind of how this feels, is like a lot of people, anyone who has like an issue with the quality need to understand that you need to be making a profit off of this. And so if you're paying $15 for a pair of earrings, you have to understand that you're not getting 24 karat gold earrings. You are getting something that's accessible, and accessibility means being able to actually buy the product. You spoke earlier about how it was hard for you to make money at your job, and getting on disability, if you were to do that, would pay like a fraction of that. If like, how would you spend that kind of, you don't have $40 to spend on a pair of earrings. You maybe have 15 though. And
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's not just a pair of earrings. It's also a tool that can help you every single day. If that, I've got stuff to suit all different types of stims. Whatever you need, I probably have something that'll work for it. And if not, I have something in the next couple of months that'll be coming out for it. Right.
Yeah.
And, that's my focus has always been accessibility, and I'm making jewelry for people like me. That was always my goal is, we're in our own little club. We're the Brain Build Different Club, the Divergent Minds Club, and I've always wanted to make jewelry for people like me. And I would, if I was looking at it online and I was like, oh, I really want to buy that. What would I be able to afford?
Yeah.
And that's how I wanted to price my jewelry, because I've lived the epitome of paycheck to paycheck. The very first place I moved into just after I turned 19, I would skip meals just because I couldn't afford food. It's like, and so I just wanted to make sure that, because it's jewelry, but they're also tools. I wanted to make sure that the people who will benefit most from these tools can actually buy them and can actually use them. Because, I don't need to charge $45 for these earrings. I really don't.
No.
And I mean, people will buy them, but not the people that I intend the product to be made for.
And that's the most important part, is that you are doing it so that people of any walk of life could get these jewelries and be able to use it as the tool that they want to use it for, and the accessibility that it brings. And like, that's beautiful and that's wonderful. And you've done it, Pyper. You did the thing.
You did it.
I think one of my things is that it's not just that you're getting this tool, which you are. It's not just that it's at an accessible price point, which it is. It's also that, when you're buying this, like, I hope people know this, that it's handmade.
Yes.
Specifically by Pyper.
Yes.
It's handmade by Pyper, and she throws in these wonderful, I bought it early on before the stickers. When Emily got her order in that she had gotten for Evan.
I got my 3-year-old son who has ADHD chewy some of the jewelry. Amazing. Chef's kiss.
And the stickers came. I didn't take stickers away from a child because that'd be messed up, but I asked if I could have one of the stickers, and he shared his sticker with me. So I got a sticker. So you're not just getting this beautiful, handmade, accessible, wonderful STEM jewelry. You're getting something that you're getting a card that tells you that you belong to this special club. You're getting stickers. You're getting this beautiful affirmation card that is it had a unicorn that like a cat was riding it or a bunny was riding it. It was beautiful. Like,
it's so cute.
Pyper does these things that make you feel special when you buy this jewelry, because you are special when you buy this jewelry. And I just want you to know, just to give you that, to let that sink in, chase away the imposter syndrome. You not only have you helped all the people that have bought your jewelry by making it accessible and the price point and all that stuff, but you also made me feel really special when I opened up the package.
I'm so glad.
Honestly, I think it's important. Like, we are all very special as being part of the Divergent Minds Club. And I think that getting your package makes you feel very special. And like, it was made with love, which it absolutely was.
Absolutely.
So, I know Pyper hates to be like, let's do all this stuff. So enough being sappy.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's been hard, but it feels so good to hear you guys say that, because it's that's the one thing is I'm an artist, right? Like, I'm more of an artsy person. I have no business experience. I know how to make jewelry. I don't know how to sell it. but with your guys' help, I'm figuring out how to sell it. And what I can't figure out, you guys are helping me with too.
Absolutely.
And it's, I also, you guys have so many nice things to say, but I just want to make sure you also know that I wouldn't be where I am without you guys too.
That's nice. That's why we're doing what we're doing.
That's like, it's I think that's one of the reasons why we also wanted to have you on our podcast, is because we wanted to obviously introduce you to the world, in our world, and talk to you about that stuff. But also because that's what we do at Novi in general. We just love spreading the love and love, opening up all these spaces and giving everyone voices. And that's our entire goal as a company from day one, when we started this as a D&D podcast between a bunch of friends. has just been safe spaces and open hearts. Like that's just really what it's always been about for us.
Absolutely. And I think that's why my business and your business have lined up so perfectly.
Well, so much is coming down the pipeline for Pyper, and so much is coming down the pipeline for Novi. And like, we can't wait to introduce you guys all to this stuff. When this episode drops, Pyper's shop will have opened back up. So I hope you go and check out all of the incredible things that Pyper's got on her website. Is it divergentmindsclub.com?
Yes.
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah.
We're also going to have mystery jewelry items.
Yeah.
So I got this little claw machine, and there will be a pin post on my TikTok where you comment your order number and I will take a video of myself pulling your mystery claw pull. So it's this little claw machine. It makes carnival sounds. And when I'm getting really overwhelmed and I just want to dive back into my creative roots, I will put everything away and I will just kind of go through everything and make a couple of like fun one-off things. And, that's kind of my way of relaxing kind of when I'm feeling super overwhelmed by everything, is finding my creativity again. And also it's just kind of fun to just play around with things and see what I can make. And that way, pretty well everything from the mystery claw machine is most likely going to be stuff that I've just been playing around with. So it's all going to be kind of like special little one-offs, maybe 5 of them at the most, but it's all going to be, very unique items. Most are not going to even be duplicates at all. And, just
listen, babe, I'm in.
That's Nicole's language.
Like literally you put the word like limited edition, exclusive to like this many, I am guaranteed to buy it or guaranteed to participate in getting that thing. Because I have to. Like that makes my brain happy.
My plan is to have 3 different color eggs you can buy. Like red eggs are earrings, green eggs are necklaces, and yellow eggs are total surprise. Ooh. So you can select what, if you really want a pair of earrings, you can go with that. If you really want a necklace, you can go with that. Or if you just want to be completely surprised,
that's awesome.
You can also choose that.
See, that's the kind of surprises I can get on board with. I can't get on board with just regular random surprise because I have absolutely no control over that. But like fun jewelry surprise, I'm in.
Oh yeah.
There is zero anxiety in that.
Oh yeah. And you can pick what type of jewelry you want to. Cause like I'm the kind of person where if I don't at least have a little bit of guidance as to what I could be receiving, it makes me a hell of a lot more hesitant to ever buy it in the first place. Because I like to have at least some semblance of control. But being able to choose, the chaotic ADHDs who want absolute surprise can go with an absolute surprise. And then anybody who gets a little bit of anxiety about being completely surprised can have at least a little bit of control over what type of surprise they want. And I feel like that also kind of dives into making sure that it's accessible, because no matter what kind of person you are, you do have options depending on your comfort level with surprises.
Yeah. And that's also fair if you like get a surprise and it's like earrings and you don't have your ears pierced.
Yeah, that too.
That's wonderful. Like that allows anyone, regardless of what's going on, to participate in that thing too, which is something that we all struggled with, like because of our different neurodivergencies. Like there are certain things that we can't participate in because it's built for people that aren't like us. But this is something that you've built that like, it doesn't matter what your neurodivergency is and you can still participate. I love that.
That's always my key thing is, however your brain is built doesn't matter. It's built different. You're understood here. Like, no, if you need to chew on things, we got you covered. Like, no shame. Chew all day long if you want. It's, just embracing the parts of us that we tend to shy away from and just being like, no, look, you don't have to shy away from that. You don't have to mask it. There's so many more of us out there, and we're a part of something special. We're a part of something that not everybody gets to experience. And it's this big community of people that understand each other and have been through, relatively similar hardships, like things that we've been through with different teachers. So many neurodivergents I talk to have had horrible experiences with teachers in school and all that stuff. And, for a lot of people that feel chronically alone in this world, I think it's really important to make sure that they know they're not. They're a part of the Divergent Minds Club, the Brain Built Different Club. They're among friends, among people just like them, and they can be themselves without any internalized shame or anything, and just embrace the tools they need to succeed the most in life, and that those tools are allowed to look pretty.
Amazing.
I love it so much.
I love that. I think that is a lovely place to end. I think that's a perfect note to end on. Everyone go buy stuff from DMC now that we have everything fixed so that we can't overwhelm Pyper.
I'm so excited to reopen. I think reopening the way that we've worked it out is going to be perfect, because then I'll have the freedom to complete the orders I need, but I won't be doing so many orders a month that I won't be able to be creative and come up with new things. And so it'll be a perfect balance.
Yeah, exactly.
So where can we find you on social media, Pyper?
I'm mostly on TikTok. My personal TikTok page, I guess, has now become really my business page. My TikTok is Pypesicle, kind of like popsicle, but PYP sickle, because my name's Pyper. But you can find me there. And the link to Divergent Minds Club is the top link in my link tree. I also have an Instagram. I'm trying to get better at using it. Just Divergent Minds Club. But I'm not great at it. Once I have more time and everything is squared away better, I will be posting a lot more day-to-day stuff. I want to engage with people a lot more. But I primarily use TikTok and Instagram. Instagram is Divergent Minds Club and TikTok is Pypesicle.
Nice.
Amazing.
So where can we find you, Emily?
You can find me at Neurotic Good on pretty much everything.
Yeah. TikTok, Twitter.
Yes.
Instagram, like literally. Same thing with me. You can find me at Nicole the Nerdy on all of those socials as well. Make sure you go to divergentmindsclub.com where you can find all Pyper's stuff. You can also find a link through novistudio.io. That is our main, where you can find our podcast page. You can find Pyper's Divergent Mind Club on there as well. And all of our other wonderful podcasts and things that we have going on. Check all that out.
Mm-hmm. And if you have a small business that you are trying to start and you have no idea how to run a business, go ahead. Hit us up. Yeah, hit us up. Send it to us through that form, or you can just message me on any of the socials, email me, emily@novistudio.io. Whatever you need, I am here. I got you. Let's talk.
I do it. They're amazing. Wow. Life-changing. But contact Novi Studios if you're trying to start a business and don't know how. They will save your life and they will save your business.
At least help you pay your rent that month, for sure.
Yes, that too.
Oh man, this has been awesome.
All right, thank you for listening. We appreciate you spending time with us here, and don't forget to dilly.
Don't forget to dally.